So is the Eufy S2 Pro Omni just a dad approved? Yes, but barely. Now, I can say that because I've purchased over 200 robot vacuum cleaners with my own money, and there are just better robots that do just as good a job as the Eufy S2, which I'll show you here in just a second. But this is home of the honest review. I was in your place 3 years ago. Robot vacuum cleaners were a big mystery, and unfortunately these robot vacuum cleaners are all over the place. You got some good, some bad. You really can't tell just by name or whatever. So 3 years ago, I went on this journey to demystify robot vacuum cleaners. And in order to do that, it took me to buy over 200 of these robot vacuum cleaners, and now the picture is just perfectly clear. I've got a website, justadadapproved.com. You can see everything I'm going to talk about. I've got my top list. So if you want to see the robots that I recommend, under 1,000, under 500, under 300 bucks, check out justadadapproved.com. And if you're unsure of what robot you need, I have a robot quiz. You can answer simple questions. Do you have pets? How big's your home? What kind of budget are you on? Answer these simple questions about your home and how much you can afford, and it's going to give you my top recommendations. So let's get started on the Eufy S2. So the first thing you're going to notice about the Eufy S2 is it's big. That's apparent. The dock is big, the robot's big, it's kind of heavy, and so that's kind of a trade-off in my opinion. Now, does it clean? Well, the mop roller does clean very good. It actually does vacuum very good. Where does it struggle? Well, it's the perimeter of the room. And it's very apparent, like robots that have LiDAR navigation, they kind of go around the perimeter of the room. They hug real close to the walls, and they just do a good job. They're not really like struggling along the perimeter of the room. The Eufy S2, it's just very apparent that this type of sensor, it's not LiDAR, it's time of flight, where it's got a front-facing sensor. There's really no other sensors on it to help it navigate, and when it's doing the perimeter of the room, it struggles. There's no other way to say that. Now, they have been updating this like no other robot. About every 2 weeks or a week, there's an update for this robot. And it was a part of a recall early on, and there's been kind of this cloud of mystery around this robot vacuum cleaner of, is it good, is it bad? What's the deal with the software? Can it be fixed with just software? Maybe, I'm not really sure. But so big, perimeter of the room, not the best, but in the middle of the room, it's rock solid. Nice straight lines, knows where it's going, navigates my home. It doesn't get caught on obstacles. So that part of it's pretty good. With it being big, it's kind of tall, and it does get kind of a little scraped up because I like sensors that help keep it away from low areas, where this one tended to kind of go into some low areas that maybe it shouldn't have. So now what's the third reason of why it's just barely data approved? So we get great cleaning performance from the mop roller, no doubt. It's the maintenance, and there's a trade-off, and there's a balancing act. So because the maintenance on this is more than a traditional spinning mop roller, and so you have to weigh the differences. This cleans better. A spinning mop pad doesn't clean as well, but the maintenance on it is so simple. Here, not super complicated, but it's a lot more. And so there's the trade-off. Is the hassle factor with the maintenance of the dirty water tank, the mop roller, the base station, the bigness of this, is it worth the extra cleaning for the maintenance part? In my opinion, it's actually not. We're not to a point where these are cleaning just so much better that I'm willing to do all this extra maintenance on this robot compared to spinning mop pads. Spinning mop pads like the Mova P10 Pro, this Gen 2, which is about a third of the price of the S2, they're pushing their mop pads down now, and they're doing a really good job of mopping. Mop pads actually do capture dirt. So I think we're getting really close to spinning mop pads doing just as good, but it's the maintenance. Like, we have to realize that the maintenance on these robots, it's a big part of them. There's no other way to put that. This is not a robot that I would recommend to my friends and family unless the person really wanted a lot of the best mopping and didn't mind kind of some of the maintenance, and it's kind of expensive to maintain. And I did there's some weak points. I have the how to clean video if you want to see it, and it's very apparent that there's just a lot of work that goes into maintaining these robots. Highlight, there's something going on with this dustbin that is amazing. They do a really good job of keeping the filter clean. Normally on these robots, the spinning mop pad robots, the dust bins, they fill up. They're about the same size, but the filter gets clogged up pretty easy on most robots. So I tell people on these, you got to clean them once a week, twice a week, depending on the dirtiness of your house. This, I never cleaned it in the 2 months it was at my home. It just kept clean. Now, it was vacuuming pretty good, but there's just a design here with this it just works. So this is kind of a nice proven technology. It's a little on the big side, and then that kind of makes the robot big. But that part works. So I was very happy with that. I was very happy with the cleaning performance in the middle of the room. I like this dock, the controls at the top, those are nice, but I'm not sure I'm willing to have those controls at the top for just how big this robot is. So here it is cleaning the kitchen toe kick area. While not too bad a job under the toe kick, it barely fits underneath there. It is kind of on the tall side. And again, you kind of get that wiggle. Now in the center of the room, does a really good job. Nice straight lines, great mopping performance. It was one of the best mopping robots I've had at my home. And our floors get pretty dirty with a dog bringing in dirt all the time. The Eufy S2 has almost perfect optical avoidance. This is some of the best I've ever tested. As you're going to see, the cable, which can be extremely hard to recognize, it did avoid it. It went all the way around, even to the other side, and went right back to the dock. Let's cut the dust bag now and see exactly how it did at my home. It picked up a lot of dog hair, a lot of fine dirt and particles, and it did a really good job of vacuuming. I was very impressed with it. Now here's an area that takes a little bit of work. It's the maintenance. I found this to be kind of extensive, and that's comparing it to other robots. And there was a couple parts that you have to spend extra time cleaning: the dirty water tank and the dustbin filter. It kind of gets pretty dirty on the inside. And there was a couple parts that were kind of fragile. One part did kind of break on me, but I did have a replacement part for it. Let's take a look at the Eufy app. While it's not the best app, it's also not the worst app. It kind of falls right in the middle. It's right below the Dreamy and Mova. I do have some features that I like about it. There's a couple areas where it could be a little bit better to fine-tune this for your home. But overall, it is a nice experience of using this app, and I do think it gives you just enough features to make this robot very capable at your home. Easy to use, very intuitive. Is it just a dad approved? It is, but be aware of some things that it has some shortcomings on. Who should buy this? Large open areas with hardwood floors. This would be great if you don't mind the big dock. I would skip it if you're on a budget, if you're wanting the most efficient robot vacuum cleaner, and if you live in a small apartment, this may be a little overkill for a small area. Let's take a look at the 3-month scorecard. You can find all this on my website, but it did come in relatively okay at a 7.5 out of 10. You definitely want to get this if you're wanting the best mopping robot and you don't mind the heavy maintenance that you got to do on it. So just real quick, what's a robot that I would recommend? It's the Roborock Curve 2 Flow. This robot tends to be a little bit cheaper than this. The dock's definitely a lot smaller. The maintenance on it's a lot simpler. The Roborock Curve 2 Flow, just a dad approved. I love it if you're wanting a mop roller. Now, what's one I would recommend? A Mova P10 Pro Gen 2. The this is a premium robot, the Dreamy X60 Max Ultra. It was around the same price. Now it's quite a bit cheaper than the Eufy S2. And it's an amazing robot that's thin, goes under furniture, kind of a proven design, climbs thresholds. If you're on a tight budget, Mova P10 Pro Gen 2, again, this mopping performance was really amazing for its price point. Typically, we see this sometimes under $400, somewhere between $400 and $500, depending on sales. That's just a great price point. Sometimes you can buy 3 of these for 1 of these. And so that's just a great recommendation. Check out my website, justadadapproved.com. Again, if you purchase a product off my website, the product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. So again, just to round up here, the Eufy S2, while not a bad robot, I think there's some better robots that clean almost just as good of it that are just a lot cheaper and a lot easier to maintain. So again, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. This is what I do for a living. I review robot vacuum cleaners. I also review cordless vacuum cleaners, corded vacuum cleaners. The website's just going to be the go-to place on buying products that you can trust, not sponsored, honest review, no free products. I just really appreciate everybody's support. JustADadApproved.com. Now, the best place to go to find these robot vacuum cleaner picks is JustADadApproved.com. Up here in the top header, you're going to see best overall vacuums, best for pet hair, best under 1,000, best under 500, and best under 300. Let's check best overall. I don't give you 20 picks. I give you 5 of my top robot vacuum cleaners with the score, but I have all the information to back it up. If you want to read the full review, why did I pick the Mova V50? Let's go see the full review. You can see the videos that I have right here to back it up. I have my 3-month real-world score test, my real-world testing results, cost to own, my robot specs that I think are important to robot vacuum cleaners, some quick buy it if, skip if, and then a simple review. Thanks everybody for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit the like and subscribe button. Also check out where you can find all my approved products on my website, JustADadApproved.com. You'll see a little link to it here at the end of the video. If you click on that, that's going to take you right to my website.